Hello, welcome. Give us just a second here. We're getting our technology all set up and then we're going to get started because we have a very full hour full of so much good information from you and we want to use every single minute of it. Get situated, grab yourself a notepad and a pen. We're going to have some really good notes on the screen of things you're going to want to capture and get yourself a drink or something that feels like a comfortable moment. And we will get started here in about a minute and a half. Welcome. If you're just signing on, we're going to get started in about 1 minute. We're just getting our technology synced up, and we're excited to share with you today all of the good information about downsizing. Grab yourself a beverage and sit somewhere comfortable. You might want a notepad and pen to take notes. We're going to have some really good tips for you flashing on the screen, and we're going to tell you a lot of great things too. So get ready.
Okay, we're hearing from our technology team that things look and sound good, which is, let's be honest, more than half the battle sometimes with these things. So, for those of you joining us, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to work with us. We are excited to teach you about downsizing, and we're going to get started in just like 30 seconds.
Okay,
All
should we
right.
do it? Let's
We'll
do
get
it.
started. I think we have some more people that are joining us as we speak, and they will just be catching up as we go. We are chock-a-block full of great information to share with you. So first, we wanted to say hello and welcome. I am Katherine, and this is Ellen, my esteemed business partner. We together are New Thresholds. We operate concierge move management and downsizing services in various areas of Texas and in Georgia, and we've worked all across the country. And after moving thousands of clients and helping them downsize into their new, dreamy, fantastic, manageable space, we felt the need and the opportunity to share with more of you how to approach downsizing. So that is what we're doing today. Just a brief background between the two of us. We have somewhat similar backgrounds. We both live here outside of Houston, Texas. And we are both parents to two kids. Mine are older. I have a college age and a high school age, and Ellen has a middle schooler and an elementary. So I guess we're
Yep.
covering pretty much most of the bases except for infant. And we have, prior to forming New Thresholds in 2020, we each had deep careers for 25 years in executive leadership, and we focused on things like logistics and project management and design and sourcing of things like furniture and decor. And ultimately, we became epic world-class problem solvers.
Yes.
And sometimes that is the primary skill that we deploy on our clients' behalf. So as we formed New Thresholds and as we have worked with so many people to help them reconcept, redesign, and downsize into their new home, we have learned a lot, and we're looking forward to sharing that with you today. So, first, I just want to take one moment and talk about downsizing. Obviously, if you've joined us on this webinar, there's a reason for it. And we, first of all, want to thank so many of you for your comments and your questions. We will be addressing those as we go through the webinar and a little bit at the end. And what I would offer to you is if we don't address your question, send us an email or get a hold of us on Facebook or on Instagram. We would welcome your messages on any of those platforms. Our email address that is best to reach us right now is houston@newthresholds.com. One of us will see it and we'll respond directly to you if you have a question that we haven't answered, or if you're looking for a resource in your local community that we can connect you with. We are very, very well connected. And as I said, we have moved and help people downsize all over the country. So we probably can help you find a local resource if you're not in our market.
We'll share the contact info again at the end if you didn't catch that. We'll have that
Perfect.
posted at the end.
Yes.
So let's talk about why we talked about why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to talk about downsizing, but let's talk about why downsizing is important.
Yep.
So we all know that to live in a smaller space than we currently live in, we have to probably downsize or make some choices in our life in order to have fewer things. But let's talk about why that's so important. So right now, when you look around your space, you might be thinking, how could I ever possibly live in a space half this size? But the great news is, if you really pay attention to your current home, you probably only live in a portion of it anyhow. We have done research on this, and a lot of our clients live in, even if they are currently in a 44,000 square foot house, which is not uncommon in Texas.
4,400 is probably
4,400. Yeah, you're right. 44,000 is rare, but possible.
I mean,
4,400. Thank you. Yeah. They really only live in less than 1,000 of those square feet. So consider that. This is probably not as daunting of a challenge as you think. Also, there's a lot of burden in living in a big house. You probably have yard maintenance. You've got a handyman who has to come. It might be time for a new washer dryer. Oh my gosh, that leak in the roof. Oh, we have to have the stucco fixed. Oh, there's all this stuff. There's a long list. And even if you live in a brand new home, there's still a list of things to do. And so part of downsizing into a smaller space, or maybe you're living in a more of a communal setup, you don't have to deal with that. You're paying someone else to deal with it. And that is definitely a lightening of your load. And fewer things means fewer things to clean up, fewer decisions to make. It's less overwhelming and actually a more curated life. We love that word. More intentional choices allows you to just live a more simplified life, but you can really surround yourself with beautiful things.
Well, and spend your time with friends and family and loved ones and on activities that you love. So today's focus, here's what we're going to teach you. We are, first of all, as promised, going to share our proven downsizing approach. Along the way, we will give you checklists and actionable how-tos and the expert Q&A that we promised. As I said, it's not today going to be live, but we have read all of your questions and we will infuse those into what we're talking about to make sure that your questions are answered, and we would welcome your follow-ups. We would love to continue the conversation with you.
Okay, so let's just sort of level set here. If you are feeling overwhelmed, stressed, frustrated,
paralyzed.
Uncertain,
paralyzed is a word we heard from
paralyzed and fearing this upcoming change, we want to just recognize you're not alone. That is very common. In fact, all of our clients feel that way, even the ones who are the most optimistic. So let's just level set. If you're there, that is normal.
Yeah. In a weird way, it's kind of the first step, but we work through that first step, and please, please, please know that it's going to be okay. As we've mentioned, we have done this many, many times. And there's all these fears and trepidation around the concept of downsizing. But the first step is, after you overcome the fear, is just to start. It makes it easier. And we will talk to you about tips on how to start. Remind yourself of all of the benefits that you're seeking with this downsizing that is upon you. Even if, and we haven't talked about this yet, but even if you decide that you would just like to live lighter in your own home, that is doable. Sometimes, honestly, it's easier to downsize and move, right? But we'll talk a little bit about what does that look like if you just want to declutter a little bit, lighten up your own surroundings so that your familiar existing space just feels a little bit lighter and brighter. And the cliche is so true, which is less is really more. Less is more. It's less to take care of. It's way more time in your day and honestly in your mind, right? You don't have this like running to-do list of all the things you have to manage and take care of. So we promise it is going to be okay. The hardest part sometimes is just getting started. So let's talk about that.
So let's talk about the goal here. And the goal at the end of this webinar, we want you to be able to walk away and say, I have the tools to create a beautiful home that I will thrive in. That's what we want you to do. And the amount of stuff varies by person. We have some what we call low density clients, we have some high density clients, and it doesn't mean that low density is better or high density is better. Whatever feels right for you is what's right for you. But we want to make sure that you have the tools in order to be able to create a beautiful, comfortable home. All right, so let's start. Well, I guess let's get into our proven approach here.
Let's do it. These photos that you're seeing right now are two, they're two separate apartments, but each of these spaces is part of an apartment that is approximately 1,000 square feet. And there is beauty and light and familiarity in those smaller spaces. So this is a little bit of the envisioning the end game.
This is all existing things. We didn't come in and like deck it out in all brand new furniture, although we can do that for clients. These are the client's beautiful things, just reimagined in a new space.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about our proven downsizing steps. And we're going to start with step one. And this is the most important step. And it's kind of the most fun. So we're going to do a quick little exercise here, and we're going to talk about shifting your mindset. Okay, so let's do this. I want you to close your eyes with me and take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Do one more. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Okay. Now I want you to envision a place in your home where you're very comfortable, where you're sitting, where you feel safe, where you feel happy. It might be your favorite recliner. It might be a chair at the kitchen table where the sunlight is pouring in the window and the day is greeting you. It might be in a space where you're surrounded by family. I want you to picture yourself there. And I want you to feel how good it feels to sit there. Maybe it's the warm sunshine. Maybe it's your grandchildren playing around you. Maybe it's you're sitting next to your spouse and you're just happy and comfortable there. Okay. That safety that you feel, that comfort and that certainty, I want you to just feel that for a second. Okay. And now you're going to keep your eyes closed, but in your sort of visualization, you're going to look up and around, and you're going to realize that you're still sitting in the same safe chair. You're still feeling the same safe way, but you look up and things are a little bit different. It's still your art on the walls, but the room is a different configuration, or you're still surrounded by your beautiful things. Your lamp, your favorite lamp is still there next to you, but you're surrounded by a slightly different setting. And I want you to just sit there for another moment and still feel that safety and still feel that comfort and that certainty. Like, I am here, I am home, I am safe. Okay, take one more deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And open your eyes with me. Okay, so what we want you to do when you're shifting your mindset, what we want you to focus on here is not operating from a place of loss where you probably were when you clicked start webinar today, but we want you to let go of the fear, let go of the uncertainty, and we want you to focus on all that you're gaining. You're gaining a lightness, you're gaining a new home, you're gaining we said this before, curated lifestyle, right? You're gaining some simplicity in your life. And in doing so, you're gaining more time. Also, optimism is critical here. We talk all the time with our clients, and we're going to talk about it with you today. We don't focus on what we're getting rid of. We focus on what we're keeping, what we're bringing with us into the next chapter of our lives and how it's going to serve us then. So we're not glasses half full or half empty. We are glasses half full. Definitely. I think everybody knows that analogy. So we're concentrating on what it is we're bringing. And that allows us to be forward looking. We're not saying, what do I have to get rid of? What are the memories I'm leaving behind because I'm not bringing that thing with me? But what is my next chapter going to look like? What's it going to feel like? What's that comfort going to be when I get there? And remember, you can do that visualization we just did anytime. You don't need me to guide it through you, but you're going to imagine your future self happy in your future space.
All right. That was step one. And you didn't have to lift a finger.
Didn't lift a finger. You see how easy this is?
Yes.
Okay.
So step two is find help and support. Some people are doing this.
Oh, sorry.
Some people are doing this on their own. And some people are part of an extended family unit or extended friend community that might be that help and support. But regardless of your circumstances, there is help and support out there for you. And we wanted to talk about what those options are for y'all, depending on your time, your budget, and your interest in having help here. But we really do strongly recommend that no one go this completely alone.
Yeah, do not do this by yourself.
So the first is hire a full service move manager, somebody like us, like New Thresholds, that specializes in design and downsizing and managing the logistical sides of a move like this. Most people don't know that service businesses like ours even exist. And so we're here to tell you, yeah, y'all have heard of movers. That's not what we are. We work with movers because they have to lift the heavy stuff. I'm not lifting an armoire, but there are people called move managers or sometimes senior move managers. They specialize in working with their clients and helping to lead them and manage through this entire process. So there is full service help out there for you.
Number one recommendation.
Yeah,
do that.
That
They're
would be our
going
number
to
one
manage the whole
recommendation.
thing for you.
Exactly. Including you'll never have to deal with a mover if you don't want. The move managers like New Thresholds will do that for you. This on the opposite end is do it yourself, work with our steps that we're going to continue to tell you about, and manage the project yourself. You can kind of liken it to if you're going to build a house, you may not be an expert plumber or an expert electrician, but you can probably general contract it. So this is like being the general contractor of your downsizing and move. If you want to manage all the logistics, if you want to find all of the various service providers that may be needed during a pretty major project like this, you can do that. We always recommend that you all partner with a licensed and insured mover because, again, I don't know about you, but I am not in shape to lift an armoire. I shouldn't do it. It'll wreck my back and
don't do it.
Then wreck my weekend.
Well, and just to be clear, this doesn't mean you're packing the boxes yourself. You're just finding the resources to still support you. So you're still getting support from someone. It's just you're coordinating everything.
Right. And that could be 5 to 10 different service providers, depending on the complexity of your move, including a mover.
Yeah.
And then lastly is what we would call a hybrid approach, which is kind of outsourcing portions of the project. So for sure, using a mover, probably a move manager to help manage the timeline and all of the steps and the arms and legs necessary for a pretty big logistical project like this. But if you already know how you want to design a new space that you're going to move into, do it yourself if that's what you'd like. So there's certainly this kind of hybrid area where it's a little bit of pulling in the experts to fill in for the expertise that you don't have.
So what if your adult child really wants to be involved and maybe they're really well equipped to be involved, or maybe they're a hot mess and they're going to make it harder on you, but you're afraid to tell them that? Give me a little sense of how do you work with an adult child?
That is a great question. We are, in fact, adult children.
We are.
Both of us. And we have decided that when we do get that request for help from each of our parents, we are going to have the other tag in. And I'm specifically, and we're not even kidding. I will be traveling to Minnesota. If
my parents need help.
If Ellen's mom or dad ever call me, because there is a benefit of separating the emotional and the logistical.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's not to say that our team is devoid of emotions. We're not. We just led you through a meditation and mindset calibration, right? But when it comes to just managing something like this, the role of an adult child is best served as emotional support, as somebody who is part of the client team, we shall say. I would not put the average Generation Xer like we are, who has a full-time job and is managing kids of their own and may not even live in the same metro area, in charge of managing the logistics for a downsizing project that they've never done before.
Yeah.
So they don't necessarily have the Rolodex or the contacts of the ideal, art hanger, the designer, the best mover, which is a big deal. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So the role of an adult child is emotional support.
Yep.
And yes, it can be a little bit of project support, but we strongly recommend that you not dub them a packer, a mover, an unpacker, a sorter, and a downsizer, and
Yeah.
certainly not your logistical project manager. And if you do, they should outsource it.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get to step 3, design your new space. So we're going to just operate with some assumptions here that when you're designing your new space, that you already know where you're going. Okay, so if you're downsizing into something smaller, maybe from a home to a townhouse or a patio home, maybe from a home to a luxury condo, maybe from a home to a senior community apartment, maybe from independent living to assisted living. There's a lot of different scenarios here, but it's best to know where you're going before you design your space. I think that makes sense to a lot of people. Our first step is identify your destination. And then we want to encourage you to build a 2-scale floor plan. That doesn't mean sketch out on the back of a napkin, oh, I think my bed and dresser can fit like this in this room. We want you to actually do it to scale. That means get out your tape measure, measure your furniture in inches, and then if you're so inclined to do it on graph paper, go for it. But there are many great free apps out there where you can do a 2-scale floor plan relatively easily, and you can drop in your furniture, move it around, send a screenshot to an adult child, get their opinion. That's a great time to involve adult children. They might have an opinion on what it is you should bring or how you might lay it out, but build it to scale.
So many of you might have heard the old adage, measure once, cut once.
Measure twice, cut
measure twice.
Yeah.
Once. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
So we would say measure twice, move once.
Yeah.
Right. Especially if you're moving into a new location, as many of you mentioned that you are planning, you do not want to put a giant heavy piece of furniture onto a moving truck and get it into the new destination and then realize it doesn't fit.
Oh, or I can't open the door.
Then you're paying to move it multiple times. And honestly, it's disappointing if your plans don't materialize the way you want. So yeah, it is measure twice, move once.
We love that. Okay. And then also we want you to think of, as you're designing your new space, your current space in vignettes. If you don't naturally use that fancy French word, it's one of our favorite, and it just means like a little moment in your home, a little space. So it's not just the recliner, but it's the recliner and the side table and the pictures on the wall behind it and the beautiful floor lamp and the little implements on the table. That whole space, if you love it all and it fits, we want you to bring all of it, because then when you move in, it's recreated just like that, ideally by a move manager, but maybe by yourself. And then you walk in and you're like, oh, this is familiar. This is home to me.
So I want to make a quick comment before we go to the next page and show you what a floor plan looks like. Again, many of you are planning to move. For those of you who are decluttering and maybe just reimagining and lightening the space and the home that you currently live in, this mentality and these steps still apply.
It does, yeah.
You can still decide, hey, this is what I want my future living room to look like, even if the 4 walls and the floor and the ceiling are exactly the same as they were before.
Yeah, so let's talk about a couple methods for if you're staying in your home, how you can design your new space. And we'll use the term sort of downsize in place. So first and foremost, you can build a floor plan, and you can have your current space and build this floor plan and just kind of wipe it out in your mind and start over. And it might mean moving some furniture in different directions. It might mean getting rid of some pieces. Maybe it's time to upgrade a couch or downsize from a couch to a love seat, things like that. Consider that furniture-wise in your space. Then when it comes to the things, there's a lot of schools of thought here. And one of my very favorites is Marie Kondo, a teeny little Japanese woman. And if you know the Japanese culture, they live in very, very small spaces. And so her philosophy is that if it brings you joy, you should keep it. Now that seems like you could walk through your home and say, well, everything brings me joy. How is that going to get me anywhere? But truly, if you use that philosophy, you will find that everything does not bring you joy. We like to say, do you want it? As in love it? Do you need it? Otherwise, it can go. And the best way to handle that is to pull out entire categories from your home at one time. That might mean in your closet, I'm pulling out all of my tops at once and I'm putting them out on the bed. And you're going to hold up each one and say, do I love it? And that means, do I feel good when I wear it? Does it fit me properly? Is the coloring right for me? Is it something that my future self would wear? And if the answer is yes to those, you love it, then hang it right back up in the closet as a keeper. But if it's a question mark, or, oh, well, no, it doesn't fit, but I did spend a lot of money on it, I should keep it. No, doesn't matter what you spent on it. It matters, does it bring you joy? Do you feel good when you wear it? And you should decide to keep it. So you could do that category by category throughout your home. It can take a while, but it's well worth it.
And we have some more details on how to sort through and make decisions in your home. But I would say that if you are if you're downsizing in place, if you're decluttering in place, if you just want to lighten up your existing space, there are people to help you with that too. But just almost imagine as if you are moving and make decisions as if you are moving, because just because it's sitting in your house currently doesn't mean it has to look like that, going forward. Just because you have, two guest rooms and they're both outfitted as guest rooms doesn't mean that they have to stay with that space utilization. True. You might want to convert one to a reading nook or a gaming room for the weekly card game. You may want to convert it to an office or a craft room, some completely different space and utilization. So just act like you're moving, and then all of these steps still apply.
And we're going to talk about this a bit more in a minute when we talk about sorting and making decisions, but we like to use green indicators, sticky indicators, like a Post-it note on things, meaning green means we keep it. It's going with us. And you can use that same mentality when you're staying in your home.
Okay, so let's talk more about this floor planning. So we've said, identify your destination. Maybe it's somewhere else. Maybe it's exactly where your feet are right now. Build a 2-scale floor plan and then create familiar spaces. So let's show you what that looks like.
So here's an example of an 850 square foot apartment. And we're going to show you actual pictures of this in a second, but this has a bedroom in it with a queen 4-poster bed, a large chest of drawers, several smaller tables. It's got a full-size couch in the living room, so like a 90-inch couch, a large coffee table. There's an enormous chandelier hanging from the ceiling. Opposite the couch, we have a fireplace that we put in for this client, electric, obviously, built it out with a mantle so that it would feel similar to the fireplace she left behind in her home. We have a kitchen table that she's sitting at with 2 beautiful Parsons chairs. And then on the far right in the office area, we have the biggest desk I have ever seen. It is truly a behemoth with a bookcase. You're going to see that come to life here on the next slide. And then there's also another sitting area here. I think this was a pull-out sofa, so she could actually have guests stay in that space. All of this I was wrong, 800 square feet. It doesn't sound like a lot of space, but if you do it properly and build it out in advance, you can recreate a beautiful space.
Yes, so this space is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a kitchen, and the second bedroom space, which has a nice closet that goes with it, has been utilized as a study and a sitting room.
And these are all just favorite things.
A tremendous, this is an entire home at 800 square feet. So as Ellen said, let's show you what this floor plan looks like in real life.
Okay, so here's what it is come to life. There's that 4-poster bed. What you maybe can't tell here in the bedroom is we brought her paint color with her. It's a really soft grayish blue, and she had some cognitive decline, and so making sure her home was really feeling familiar the moment she walked in was critical. And so we brought that paint color here. We also put some really fun temporary stick wallpaper in her bathroom with these big cute blue crabs on it to add a little fun and whimsy in there too. Easy to take down when she moves, but it really brought that space to life too. Living room, I see that chandelier I mentioned. It's huge, but it was so important to her. It was hung over her dining room table where she hosted all of her favorite family events. And so keeping that was critical. Large couch, and we're standing at the vantage point of the fireplace. And then here's that huge desk. We put it perpendicular to this bookcase here, and it created this sort of little office nook. We have a guest chair there too. So the desk chair is facing into the room, and then you can just sort of see the ottoman there of the seating space. So all of this comes to life. And we did it in advance, built a floor plan so we knew it was going to fit. And the client was so thrilled. This is one of our very favorite projects we've done.
So for those of you who are thinking about, okay, how would you execute a project like this? Just in listening to what Ellen went through, the different service providers that were involved.
Oh, yeah.
Design and move management team. That was us.
Yep.
We also contracted with a painter,
Mm-hmm.
with an electrician
Yep.
to wire in that, detach and then wire in the chandelier, a specialty mover to move the chandelier,
Carpenter to build the fireplace.
oh my gosh, a carpenter to build the fireplace.
Yep.
We had a specialty installer do the peel and stick and removable wallpaper. Trying to think if there was anybody else
Did we do
involved.
the closets outfitted? I can't
I
remember.
think we did.
Yeah.
And then there was also some negotiation with the building to make sure that a 60-pound chandelier would be acceptable to them. It was right on the edge, but there it hangs
Yeah.
and everybody's happy.
Okay, so now let's talk about how to actually do that, how to select what's coming with you.
Yes. And this is quite possibly the part of downsizing that is the most daunting to people. So
remember the mindset at the beginning. So sort of reorient yourself. We are selecting what you want, not what goes away. We're thinking about
Right.
what's coming. You're shopping in your home. So tell us how to do
exactly.
that.
So the Ellen touched on a little bit of it, but as once you have laid out your future furniture arrangement, whether it's in the four walls you live in or whether it's in the future four walls you're going to live in, once you have those big furniture pieces oriented and you understand the utilization of each space, then you get to go through your entire home and select what comes. Notice this does not say select what needs to go away. That is the other side of the coin, but it's a really, really important distinction because it is a bummer. It is disappointing and kind of sad
Feels like loss.
to constantly walk around. What do I have to get rid of? You don't have to get rid of anything. Question is, what do you need, want, and will fit? What do you wish to have in your future space, however that looks like? So this is one of the reasons, frankly, that sometimes with downsizing, it's actually easier to move spaces because you get to walk around your home and, like stoplights, identify what have you chosen and then what have you not chosen. And so we use a very simple stoplight system.
You might like to
sometimes
removable dots. Buy the removable ones. They don't like to get wet, but they will come off furniture easily.
Absolutely. Do not make the mistake of non-removable dots. You don't want that on your furniture. But we're just going to show you the process that we use and what that ends up looking like. So you'll see some pictures of recent jobs that our team has worked on. And if there is an entire broom closet in this case, where there's a few things in it, there's an obvious destination for it in the new space, it's very easy just to open the closet, look at it, say, yes, I wish everything to come with me. You put green. If you want to double do it, you can write the word all on it, but you also know that green means
all that comes,
it's coming with us. So that's one way to do it. Just label an entire space. In some cases, we have worked with clients who might have a couple of extra guest rooms and they may not have the couple of extra guest rooms in their future space. So it's very easy just to go in and put a red sticker on the door to that room or pull out the couple of things that are going with the clients for the future space, so that you can still very simply just label an entire space. So that's one approach.
And just to reiterate, if you have a closet where almost everything's coming except like two things,
just pull those things out.
Put them somewhere else so that you can put that green sticker on the door. It just feels good.
Exactly. The second and third approaches are somewhat similar. So you can see pictures of kitchen spaces, one cabinet and one drawer here. In the cabinet, that may not always be what that dishware looks like, but we've rearranged a little bit to say, look, we're going to label by shelf, and the decision is that those green shelves are going with us. And then the odds and ends and the things that don't really have a set or have a use will go up on the top shelf. That's labeled red, easy peasy. And then last but not least, you can see the drawer with all of the flatware. That is not how that drawer normally looks. But again, for ease of, clustering like with like, and making decisions. That entire drawer has been labeled with a green dot. You can see it down there in the corner. And so there's just various utensils and other kitchen implements in there. The drawer above it is all full of things that have not been chosen to go with us. I want to mention something. So there is, it does not, believe it or not, if you have a good system in place and you have a wing woman who can help you, it does not take long to do an entire house.
No.
When our team has kind of a, I would say a typical engagement, we are very, very, very high touch in terms of the time we spent with clients, but we can do an entire house in a total of 12 to 15 hours, believe it or not. And many of you are probably sitting in your multiple 1,000 square foot house that you've lived in for 40, 50 plus years going, oh my gosh, no, we promise.
Yeah.
The vast majority of the time, probably 90% of the time, decisions can be made in 12 hours or less. Now, I would never recommend you do all 12 hours at one time.
Gosh,
That's
no.
inhumane.
Yeah.
Probably 2 or 3 hours at a time. And even if you are in a position where you're not lifting a finger, you're making decisions and somebody else is labeling, it's kind of a mental workload. So we say 2 or 3 hours at a time, and then give yourself a break and come back maybe the next day or certainly in the afternoon after you've had a lunch break to continue. But we promise 12-ish hours, 12 to 15 hours, you will be able to make a decision about every single item in your home, top to bottom, attic to garage, and everything in between.
Let's talk really quickly about how to answer the will it fit question. I'm going to use a kitchen as an example. If you're moving into a new space, count your current cupboards and count your new cupboards. Now, also open the cupboards and understand how many shelves you have. If you have 4 shelves per cupboard now, and you're moving to a place with 3 shelves per cupboard and half the amount of cupboard space, you're going to have to do the math there. But you want to understand, okay, I can take about half or about a third, whatever that number is for you, and use that as you're going along. You can pare down, I mean, you don't have to bring 12 dinner plates anymore. You could bring 6. You might never use your bread plates. Leave them behind. This is a good time to say, what do I use and how am I going to do it? If you're really unsure about how to do this, especially in a kitchen, you can designate a green cabinet and a red cabinet, and then sort your things accordingly and live that way for a while. You could say, I'm only living out of the green cabinets for the next month. And if you think of something that's in a red cabinet that you wish you had put in a green cabinet, go ahead and make that change. But it allows you to sort of test out, did I sort this right? So we encourage our clients who have plenty of time and are doing it themselves to use that mentality.
And one last thing, if you're doing it yourself, we strongly recommend, and we practice this ourselves, the process of decision making and sorting, which we've talked to you about, is not equal to packing. When you're making these decisions, you are not putting things, or somebody else is not putting things into a box. It really, if you can get yourself in the mental wavelength of, do I need it? Do I want it? Will it fit? That just is like boom, boom, boom. You make the decisions. You don't worry about packing things carefully at that time.
Pack it later.
There's a time to pack later.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. Let's talk to manage the move logistics. If you don't have a pen and paper, grab one now, because we're going to talk about some meaty stuff. So first and foremost, choose a qualified mover. All movers are not created equal.
Right.
And usually the better the mover, the more you pay. Not always true, but usually that's a guide. And we're going to encourage you here not to call high school grandson with a pickup truck, or the college hunks hauling junk, or whatever they're called. Like, pick a good mover here. We're going to talk a little bit more about what that means. Get a quote or multiple quotes. Don't call over the phone and have them say, oh, you're moving into a 2-bedroom. That's going to cost this much. No, you want someone on site in your house looking at your things. If you have a glass coffee table that should be crated, you want the mover to see that in advance.
Right.
Also, understand their service offerings. Can they pack for you? Can they unpack? If you're taking a large mirror, can they actually take it off the wall and hang it again? Do you need to find someone else to hang it on the other end? Understand what it is that they can do for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so how to choose a qualified mover? First, ask for a referral, not a friend that moved down the street, but someone who moved into the same building that you're moving into. Call the building. Hey, I need a great mover. Who do you prefer to work with? Again, get an in-person quote. Sometimes movers now do video quotes because they can use AI and they have some technology. That's okay too, but make sure they have eyes on what it is they're moving.
We would invite you as well. Call us.
Oh yeah, we're happy to
We
walk you
we
through.
do this all day, every day,
Yeah.
and to be honest, we've kissed a lot of frogs, and we have gone through everything we're sharing with you is born out of experience and sometimes bad experiences.
Yep.
So we know a great mover when we see one, and we have a network of them across the country. Call us. We'll
Absolutely.
connect you with somebody trustworthy.
Yeah. When you're looking at that quote they send you, look for a not to exceed number. You want them to come in within 10% of the quote they gave you. You don't want someone, sometimes a mover will lowball and say, oh, that move, I can do that for $1,500. And then they're going to give you all the excuses when you get a $4,000 bill on why it came in higher. So make sure you're locked into plus or minus 10%. And then ask them to quote and maybe line items separately the packing and the unpacking. So if you're managing this whole move yourself, understand what them packing and what them unpacking can do. Moving is exhausting. You might think in your head, oh my gosh, I can pack this house. I have a week, no big deal. Let me tell you, the number of boxes you think it's going to take, multiply that times 4, and that is actually the number it will take. Even moving into a 1-bedroom apartment, we usually have over 100 boxes for each of our clients. So chances are you may have moved a bunch years ago or even recently, but you might be underestimating what that looks like.
So let's just briefly touch on mover service offerings. We've actually had some requests to do an entire educational webinar on how to choose and work with a qualified mover. We'll probably do that. We're just giving you the top line and the high level points, but we'll go deeper and certainly, again, call us if we can help you.
So make sure that they're packing and wrapping your furniture. They should wrap your furniture before it leaves the house. They shouldn't carry it out and throw a blanket on it in the truck. They should provide the packing and wrapping material. We love to use new boxes for our clients. It's not always a choice for everybody cost-wise, but you don't want your cashmere sweaters going in someone else's olive oil box. That's a bad combination. Consider adding valuation insurance. This can feel complicated, so spend time with the mover understanding what this looks like. We'll go into this more in depth in a future webinar. You want to make sure the mover is geared to load, transport, and unload your belongings. That's pretty streamlined or typical.
But don't assume anything.
But don't assume anything.
Like
yeah.
We've all seen the 60 Minutes episodes where the truck refuses to unload somebody's possessions until they pay them 3 times the quote. We do not want that to happen to you. So you need to be well prepared and ask the questions.
And read reviews. That's a good way to understand too.
Yes.
When a mover tells you they unpack, that does not mean they're unpacking your kitchen and putting it in the cabinets. That means that it's coming out of a box and going on the first available flat surface, like a kitchen counter or stacked on a dining room table. That might be a big help to you. And so we're not discouraging you, but don't just understand what you're getting when they unpack. You want to make sure that they can remove things or hang things or set things up for you, and always make sure they haul the material away. You don't want to be left with 100 boxes to flatten and all the paper that goes with that and then have nowhere to put it. Chances are the dumpster at your new place isn't going to allow for that. Okay, phew. Now we're in the final step. Yeah.
So last but definitely not least, make it feel like home. And we're going to talk about what we believe making it feel like home means. The first is unpack quickly. As Ellen said, moving is exhausting. By the time all of the contents are in the house, to be really honest, the last thing you're going to want to see is a box.
Yep.
And the last thing you're going to want to do is unpack them and put them away and then find a space to store the boxes until you can recycle them or pass them along to somebody else. So that is asking a lot, but unpacking quickly will help you. It's kind of like the last couple of miles of a marathon, which I have personally not run.
I have. It's a lot. Okay. Everyone's like, you're almost there. And you're like, no,
it's terrible. And I don't know why I ever signed up for this. That's why I didn't start in the first place.
Well, there you go.
refresh key items such as towels and waste bins and shower curtains. Again, if they're in your prior home or your current home for a while, they probably need at least a deep clean. If not, just freshen them up so that it feels a little bit newer.
And ship it directly to the new space.
Totally.
Like have it all there, unpacked, ready to go. You can hang a shower curtain before move-in day. Do it one day when you're visiting the new home.
That's right. Choose a familiar paint color. We talked about that. And then hang art and photos. It is literally the cherry on top of
Yes.
the cupcake or the sundae. It makes it feel like yours. It looks more put together. You might want to live with your furniture arrangement for a couple of days before you put holes in the walls, hanging art. But beyond that, doing so will really make it feel like
And
yours.
maybe you just do a few key pieces to start to get that homey feeling, and then you add more later. Here's an example of where we've taken a lot of art collections and sort of made it a little denser on the wall. And look how beautiful it turns out. So instead of just one piece sort of space throughout your home, it creates this collection. I love how that looks.
Me too, especially the entryway on your far left. It's literally the story of who this person is. And then Ellen mentioned that cute crab
Oh yeah, there
stick
it is. Look.
wallpaper before. So it's a little wink and a little fun.
Fun. Okay, so to summarize our downsizing in 6 simple steps, start with your mindset. And this, you might have to do this every day that you're touching your home. It's not just once and then move. Every time you're thinking about your move and downsizing, stop, focus on your mindset, be your future self, visualize that and feel good and safe doing it. Then find help and support. That doesn't mean your adult son who's got kids and also coaches soccer.
Right.
Make sure that you have the right help and support. Design your new space. So carefully select what comes, manage those move logistics, and then make sure it feels like home. Whew, that's a lot, but it's like all really critical. Okay. Should we get into the Q&A?
We absolutely should. So again, I've thanked you all for your wonderful questions, and we really want to make sure that we are serving your needs. One question that we get, I'm not going to flip to the slide. I'm going to keep this one up so that you all can write down our contact information if you want it. But one question that we get all the time is, what do I do with all my stuff? I.e. the unwanted stuff, the unchosen stuff,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there are many ways to do this. Why don't you take us through those options?
Okay. So let's sort of level set where we are. You are in your new space. You're surrounded by all the things you want and need and will fit. You're happy, you're settled, you've met your new neighbors, you're enjoying lunch. Maybe someone's cooking for you these days. You're happy and you're settled. And you have a previous home that is full of things that you no longer want. And you've done some good emotional work detaching from those things and you're ready to let go. So that's our starting point here. So our number one choice, we're going to kind of go down in order of like most easiest and most lucrative down to sort of the toughest way to deal with things. The very first and foremost is host an in-home estate sale. Find a really good estate sale company. Use Google, read reviews, ask friends, and find an estate seller. That means they're going to come into your home.
You cannot live there when they do this.
You can't do it. You can't even show up. You kind of have to be done and out.
Your home will turn into a store.
Yeah, it becomes a
retail store.
And you want them to set up a sale in your home with all of the things you don't want. And they are going to price those things and going to have people in. Ideally, you want someone who's going to bring in other people's things too. So it's this big juicy sale, because when the tides rise, all the boats rise. And you want to be the first stop on a Saturday morning where someone's lined up and they're able to shop and find a lot of good stuff. Now, there's also an opportunity to do a digital auction. These are less lucrative because an estate sale starts with a price on something and an auction starts with a starting point. So let's say that chest of drawers we want it to sell for $250. The estate seller is going to price it at $250. It may get reduced if there's no interest, but that's where it starts. An auction will probably start at $1 or $5. And you have to have enough want and demand in order to push that price up. If you've got a ton of want and demand, awesome, you might get up there, but chances are you won't. So just understand that there can be a really big gap between an auction style here and a sale style here. Just make sure you understand the difference between the two. There's also consignment. This is similar to an estate seller, but it's not happening on site. It means you're transporting the things you want to sell to another sale location, maybe a consignment shop, an antique shop, and usually there's a mover fee associated with that. Sometimes the estate seller will pay the mover fee, but just know that's coming out of your commission at the end of the day because you're paying someone to move it and sell it off site. In an estate sale, the buyer is responsible for getting that out of your house, even if it's a huge armoire that has to be taken apart. So just understand that.
So we've touched on basically how selling things, right?
Stuff. Yep.
It is not the only option. And I want to be really honest, unless you have a Picasso in your guest room closet, very few people have a major financial windfall from estate selling, from digital auctions, or from consignment. It brings in money, don't get me wrong, and there's nothing wrong with it. But oftentimes that money is well poised to help offset costs associated with moving. Yeah. It's not necessarily like, hey, what can I get for this? This isn't really an income generation plan, but it's a responsible way of pairing up your unchosen things with people that actually want to give money for them and will enjoy them. So that's a nice feeling to know that somebody is choosing to give a nominal amount of money for the items that you've unchosen.
Absolutely. Another option is, and this one feels really good, is to meaningfully donate. And what we mean by that is pick an organization that's meaningful to you. And maybe you're donating somewhere, maybe it's a veterans organization, maybe it's associated with your kid's school or your church or something that feels good to you. And if you know, as you're downsizing and making decisions in your home, that those proceeds or items or whatever are going to a good cause, you will start to want to let go of more because you're helping a cause that's bigger than you. And when we think about other people, we become generous and we focus on the gratitude of the things that we do have and how those things served us throughout life and how we don't need those anymore and someone else is going to benefit from those. And just know some of the stuff is going to be trash, and that's okay too. Chances are there's some things in your garage or some things in disrepair. We don't love throwing things away. Recycle when you can, but just know that that's okay. And sometimes that happens.
Right. And just, it's very common at this point during COVID and all the things that were associated with that. A lot of donation sites stopped taking mattresses. Sometimes they won't even take upholstered items.
Yep.
So just understand that just not everything can be donated to an organization. And yeah, trash is a real thing. It doesn't matter how long you've lived somewhere. Trash and recycle and sometimes financial shred. Another question, speaking of financial shred, that we receive all the time is how to handle downsizing paperwork. So I have all these files, the question typically says, and I don't want to bring an 8-drawer file cabinet with me to my new home. Good, because you don't have to. There's only a select few things that you really need to pick through and choose to keep. So let's go through what those are.
And there's nothing more unsightly than setting up a beautiful new office space and having one of those big metal file cabinets that's 25 inches deep.
Like from the doctor's office.
That the drawers only hold stuff halfway full or it tips over. It's like the biggest waste of space and it's not very pretty. So here's how we suggest you handle that. Get 1, maybe 2 banker boxes, 2 max.
You can buy those at any retailer like Walmart, Target.
Yep. And
get little handles.
Yep. Get some file folders if you don't already have your things in files. And you're going to select the things you want to keep. Same mentality we had for the rest of the house. Include the deed to your house, your mortgage documents, your car insurance information, your passports and birth certificates, and all of sort of those critical documents, probably tax returns, 3 to 7 years, depending on what you need. Based on what the IRS recommends for you. But that doesn't mean you need tax returns back to 1983. They don't care about those anymore. And you probably shouldn't either. Most of the things are available digitally these days. So keep, if you need it for comfort, 1 or 2 months back on credit card statements, if you still have those paper copies. But beyond that, go ahead and get rid of it. So we say collect all of the important stuff, put it in these banker boxes, it's ready to go, and then everything else you're leaving behind. You can call a shred company and they will show up with a shredding truck at your front door for, I don't know, less than $200, and they'll shred everything on site for you, meaning it is shredded before they even pull away. And it's really worth the money to do that. So,
Yes, you can also go to
highly
your
recommend.
local like UPS store and do it by the box. It's not necessarily inexpensive, but if you just have a box, it's no
If you
big
don't have
deal.
very much, yeah.
So I want to recap just a quick bullet list of what you should keep in our opinion. The first is ownership information, titles to cars, houses, any other things that you have a title or ownership of, right? You don't
Yep.
even have to keep the instructions for your dishwasher because that's available online. So it's really just like big ownership things,
Like
number one.
warranty stuff. Yeah.
Right. Number two, personal records, birth certificates, death certificates, passports, social security cards, those types of things that you should never get too far away from. Also, Ellen talked about financial statements. I mean, I don't keep any
I
paper
don't either.
financial
Yeah.
statements, but I understand that there is a habit that a lot of us have of filing the paper, and that's very responsible. You just need to keep a month or two, if that. But if you are in the habit of kind of absorbing that information by paper, keep a month or two, and the rest of them go away. And then we talked about tax return, minimum 3 years, and 7 if you have some very fancy business deals or LLCs happening. So that's kind of it.
Yeah.
There's just not that much that you need. I mean, you might have an old college transcript. That's not a bad idea to keep around because honestly, it takes a little doing to get a new one. But you get the idea. It's that it's a very few amount of things that really, it does technically only fill one banker's box, but maybe you need to.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have time for maybe one more question, and I want to go to one that we just got in because
Okay.
it's a theme. And the question is, where do I start?
Oh,
A lot of you are talking about struggling with procrastination and feeling stuck and overwhelmed. And so, we talked about starting with a really positive mindset, and that doesn't require you to lift a finger. After the positive mindset, if you were going this on your own, we do have some suggestions for where you start. We went through the steps, and we'd like to suggest also after the mindset that you're creating and designing your new space. But what if you have the future envisioned, but you just are looking at your current living environment
like
going, oh my gosh, whether you're decluttering in place or whether you're downsizing and moving. So
again, that's normal. Okay, I'm ready to do this, but
yeah.
I don't know where to start. That's a
So
normal feeling.
we have two key suggestions, and they're
Yeah.
very different, actually. The first is actually hire a move manager.
Yeah.
And yes, we are move managers. We realize not every single one of you can hire us, but we would be happy to put you in touch with people who are fantastic that we know. But the point is that the role of a move manager is to walk with you through the process. They will know what to do next.
Yeah.
They are your wing woman or your wingman in terms of taking that next step. They will provide you not only with the expertise, the project management capabilities, the steps, but also just like sometimes the confidence
and a little like encouragement.
They're showing up
Yeah.
Wednesday at 3:00.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We're doing it.
Wednesday at 3:00, something's going to happen, and it's going to be, good in terms of heading you in the direction you want to go. So that's the first, is that we see the value every single day in hiring a professional who can walk you through this process. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, if you are going alone and you feel like you want to sort from your home of many years, and you're trying to start with making the decisions about what stays with you, what moves with you into your new environment, whether that's a reimagination of your current or whether it's a future environment, start with an area that is relatively low emotion, relatively benign. You don't start with your primary or master bedroom.
Don't start in your kitchen.
No, don't start with your kitchen, because some of you I hear like to cook. I actually am devoid of emotion when it comes to my kitchen, but Ellen likes to cook.
I love to cook, and I wouldn't get rid of
a lot of things.
Very attached.
But a great room to start with is an unused space, the junk room or the guest bedroom.
Yeah.
Like, start with a place that you know that you aren't going to have a lot of emotional tug towards things. And that will start to build momentum for you and confidence for you. And in fact, when we have client engagements, that's exactly what we
We
do.
start in the guest
We
bedroom
start
closet.
with a guest bedroom
Yeah.
because we know that it's important for our clients to start somewhere that just has, they have got to, get their legs under them a little bit and learn the process and start to make decisions with confidence and feel really good about how things are going.
If you don't have a guest bedroom closet, or for some reason that's not a good choice for you, choose like a laundry room or a small space where you're like, okay, I'm very clear in here what the essentials are and what the non-essential unused things are. That can help build some momentum there.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, with that, we have come to the end of our hour together. We are so grateful for those of you who have dialed in and watched this, and we hope that this information has been empowering and helpful. Again, I'll say it again, we are resources for you. So now we're connected, now we're friends. You've heard our approach. We want to share with everybody so that all people who wish to downsize or live with less are empowered and have the steps that we use every single day to improve their living environment and potentially improve the speed and the comfort at which they get into their new living environment. But we are resources for you. So you see our Facebook and our Instagram handles there. I'll repeat our email address again, which is Houston, like the city, Houston at newthresholds.com. Please email us. We would love to hear from you and answer your questions and just be a resource and connect you wherever you are with the service providers and the support that you need.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us today.
This is great. Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye.